Hello, my name is Terry. I've just made this table and chairs, so if you stay with me I'll show you how I made them, and let's get to it then. Hi, this is where I began. It's the 11th of November 2022, so it's happy birthday to Axel, my grandson is too. I started with the tabletop. I figured out to give people enough shoulder room and elbow room, I needed 30 inches per person. So for 8 people, it came to 240 inches. That's to give enough room for people to sit. And that worked out then at a radius of 38 inches. So what I've done, I've set up 2 sheets for a template, to do a circular template just for the tabletop initially. I've set up a router then at my 38, so I'm going to pivot that next, cut out my tabletop, and that's the start, and we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching. Now I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to cut it into 8 equal pieces. Okay, next thing is to transfer these segments into wood, into oak. I figured out if I cut these 2 at 40 inches, I'll get 3 in the length. These waist triangles will transfer to do these wings. So I think the next step is to cut 16 pieces of oak, 40 inches long. I'll plough them for a loose tongue. We'll get them into glue, we'll get them into clamps, and we'll take it from there. As you can see, I have some of the segments in glue now. So while they're setting, I've cut out a template for the shape of the legs. A little bit of an unusual design from an old table I did years ago. I'm going to produce that 4 times, and there'll be a spreader rail as well. I'll show you how we go along. I'll plane them now, and then I'll bandsaw them and show you how I shape them on the spindle. Next up is to tenon the spreader rails. I'll do that now before I shape them. These two are the spreader rails. I'll halve and joint these, and then I'll shape them. It's easier to take the halve and joint out while you have some square pieces. It doesn't rock on the saw. So I'm going to take these out now, and then I'm going to mark them and show you. Okay, these are the spreader rails. I've halved them, and now I'm going to bandsaw them. The reason I halved them now was the way they would sit without rocking as it was taking out the halving joint. So now that the halves are done, I've marked them, and I'm going to bandsaw them out, and I'll just show them to you then. It'll give you a clearer picture before I spindle them. There you go, that's them. That'll give you a clearer picture. They'll half together. And I'll mortise on the four legs. Then I'll shape the four legs similarly to this. Then I'll spindle everything on the templates and explain more to you about the templates and why we use them. Now that's the joint. I'm going to fox wedge that joint. I'll put 2 cuts here and drive 2 wedges. And I'll explain about fox wedge joint when I'm assembling. Right, now we're ready to spindle this. This is a spreader rail. Because my template is smooth, it means I don't have to be so accurate when I come to bandsawing, because this will in effect plane it. There's a bearing here, it's the same diameter as the cutter. And as the bearing rolls on the cutter, it'll in effect plane and smoothen the actual workpiece, make it very easy to sand. So I'll do a bit now just to show you. So that's how that's done. I'll do the rest of them. I'll sand everything up and come back when we're assembling it. Right, I'm going to show you what I mean by a fox wedge tenon. You have your mortise, stopped mortise. Your tenon then will pass in, and as it's hitting the base of the mortise, these 2 small wedges will drive. Just before I drive the tenon, I'll shave back slightly in a dovetail shape with a chisel. That'll allow room for where the tenon will spread. And once that goes in, it's going nowhere. That's them finished. I'll leave them overnight and I'll put them together. I'll put the halving joint together. I won't glue the halving joint in this case it doesn't have to go through a narrow front door, but in its next life maybe it will. So when I cross these joints, I'll just put a coach screw up through the bottom. That way then they can always be broken again without doing any damage. Okay, in this section, I'm going to prepare these on the ring fence as I did the table legs. Each section I numbered. You remember I cut everything into 8 pieces. That means if there's a slight variation in the sizes of any of them, they will still marry back together again. So I'm going to make sure I keep the numbers matching, that I don't turn, that nothing goes astray on me. So I'll fix that to that, shave it on the ring fence. I'll plough then, here for a loose tongue again. I'll show that as I'm machining it, and we'll be getting ready to glue then the whole tabletop into place. Okay, I'm ready now to machine these. Them all exactly the same. I've still got the bearing there, so I don't really need this. One of the reasons I put it up there is because I can use the extractor. And another reason is I can use this automatic feed. Okay, I'll just send one through and I'll show it to you. That's it now, simple as that. It's dead straight, it matches the template. The outer circle I won't touch. I'll wait till it's all glued and I'll spin my radius again with the router and I'll get the outer circle then perfect again. Okay, now it's time to plough them, so I'll put one through and we'll have a look and take it from there. Now then, that's the plough done. So the next thing, I'll continue, I'll do them all of course, but I need to cut a loose tongue and we'll get them up on the bench and we'll clamp them and soon we'll have a proper round tabletop. Okay, here we have the tabletop coming together. But now that I see it like that, I can see it would be a nightmare to try and glue that in one hit. So what I've decided to do is make the 8 segments initially into 4. I can glue them much easier like that. And tomorrow I'll make the 4 into 2. And the next day we'll have a full circle glued together, good and solid. So okay, I'll crack on and make the 8 into 4. Okay, this is the template for the band. I'm going to make this in oak about 3.5 inches thick, and this will sit all around the outer rim, and then we'll have the internals to fasten the top to. And while we're there, I'll just put this on. This is just the offcut of the template, but I wonder, does it give us a look? It gives a sneak preview into what it's going to look like, maybe. Okay, that's roughly it. Looking good. Right, then we're going to take a step closer, and I'm going to make these for 2 pieces until tomorrow. I'll do it now. I'll show you the way. I decided to put a straight edge just to give me something to push against. It's always handy to have it, something like this in the shop. I've had it for years. I used it the whole time. Starting to get heavy, these pieces now. They're getting bigger. Okay, happy with that. I'm going to leave it now till tomorrow. So in the meantime, I'm going to start making the band that'll connect tabletop to the table legs. Okay. Next thing is to turn this ring into oak. Ignore this piece. I'm going to use that as a bench. It's handy. It's just a waste piece. But this one, I'm going to turn this into oak. It's quite simple. I'm going to set up a mitre saw. And I'll get these joints right at the end. And I'll work around. Just like that. And I'll fasten them up through with a screw. Next, I put a second layer on. I step the joints like a brick, just for strength. And work my way around it a second time. When I'm finished that, I'll put a third layer on. That'll give me my full, each one of these is 1 inch, it'll give my full 3 inch of depth of a ring. So when the glue has gone off and have all that done, I'm then going to use this cutter, similar to what I used on the spindle. The reason I'm not doing it on the spindle is it's quite a big ring and quite awkward to handle on the bench of the spindle. But if I put this up on my workbench, I can easily walk around it with this. So I'm going to start doing that now. I'll show you how. I'll set up my mitre saw, as I said, and I'll start work on it now. Okay, that's the circle formed. That'll become very strong when the glue goes off. It's not bad now. I profile cut that with the router when it's set. I'll give it a sand up and we'll move on from there. Okay, we're ready for the final glue up on the top, so let's see how it goes. Okay, that's it on the top for now. I can leave that now until I have the legs finished, the band done, and all the rails ready to accept the top. Then when the top goes onto the actual legs, then we can work on sanding the top and doing the finishing stuff. So let's leave it at that for now, and time for a beer. Now we're ready to machine the ring. I've turned it upside down that the template is on the top. And I've wedged it out of a nice steady work base. So first of all, I'm going to spin this profile with the bearing closer to the shaft of the machine. I'm going to run that a few times until I get it down as deep as I can go. And at that point, I'll turn it upside down and I use this cutter. It's the opposite, the bearing is the furthest away from the machine. And this then will finish off and do the last run. So okay, I'll put these in and I'll get started and I'll show you then. Okay, that's her finished. Okay, moving to the next step. I've sanded this and I've just put a round on it just to make it easier on the hand to touch. I'm just going to put it into place. I've cut 4 notches in the legs, the way it'll pass down, just like that. Next step, these pieces are going to be brought down flush at the top to take the actual top. I'm going to put 2 there. When they pass down, I put a bolt through. That way it can be dismantled in the future if needed to be. I'm also going to put 2 down on here. I'll halve and joint them in the middle. Sink them all down flush and put them all into the circular frame. I'll do that now and then I'll come back to you. That's the rails and everything in, and I bolted them as I said I would. What else I did? I spun this cutter, ploughing head, into here, and I did it in 6 places for a quarter. So there's 24 fixing points. To allow for movement, I've got these, and I'm going to screw these to the bottom of the tabletop, and these will all connect. I'll leave that little eighth of freedom here, this little gap, to allow for the movement of the wood, and hopefully then everything will stay as it should. The next thing is then I'll put this onto the top, I'll screw that up, and it'll be ready to work on the top of the table. Now at this point, while I had it separated, I sprayed the legs. It was easy to get at now and turn it around, and I did the underneath of the table just to seal it. So as I say, I'll move on now. I'll move this over and I'll screw the top to the legs, and it'll be ready then, like I say, to work on the top. So we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, the next step is to bring our tabletop back into a true circle again. So what I've done is I've changed the radius ever so slightly. I'm going to run it again and shave it so we're back to a perfect circle. After that then I'll start putting on the band. So I'll just have a go now, see how we go. Okay, moving to the next stage is going to be the band on the outer edge. I'll show you my idea for that. I want to put a 3/4 inch band the whole way around. On the outer edge there's going to be a carving, like a Celtic knot pattern. So what I've decided to do is I'll go around 3 times, glue it first, one band. When the glue sets, I'll do the second band. And before I put on the third band, my plan is to carve it while it's flat. It's going to be easier. And then I'll glue it on. I'm going to start now. I'll put one on and we'll see how we go. I'm going to get some clamps and wedges. This is my plan, and let's see what happens. Now that can't have gone much better than that actually. Very happy. I'm going to muster up as many clamps as I have now. You never have too many clamps in a shop. And I'll continue the first band. Leave it at that. When the glue is set, I'll continue like I said. Okay, I'll crack on. Okay, initially this one I'm going to do dry just to get the right length, and then I'll take it off again. Okay. While the glue is setting on that, I've drawn this little thing. It's the pattern of the Celtic band. I'm going to cut that out as carefully as I can. I'm going to mark it along. I'm going to router it then. Just router the low pieces out. And afterwards then with a chisel, I'll put in these little folds, these little layers. That'll be quite easy. So it'll be a little bit tedious, mark this and carve it. So the sooner I start, the sooner I finish. I'm going to bring it over to the bench, give the table here a chance to set, and see how I get on with this one. Now, it's actually getting there. It's not too bad, it'll take me a little while. I'm going to skip forward a little now. I'm going to mark the two, and I'll come back to you when I'm starting to route, just to show you how it's going. Okay, I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, I'm starting to route now. I've got a little 1/8 bit, so I'm going to have a go with this. It's going to take a little while. I'll film it for a little bit just to show you, but I'm not going to bore you with all this. I'll just have a go, see what happens. The band I have is 7 or 8 mil, so I'm going to go in halfway, roughly. 3-4 mil, just 1/8 of an inch. That should do. When it's carved, there should be a nice shadow in it when it goes into the house it's going in. So it won't really matter that I'm not deep. I just need that shadow. So, right. Now, I hope you can see that. With it being hand carved and cut, it's going to be uneven here and there. It's going to look handmade. It's the look I want, rather than to give it to somebody with a CNC machine and make it perfect. The chap this is for, Noel, he's a stonemason. He's the type that appreciates things hand cut like that. I will fold it using a chisel, and I'll make it look plaited after I have it routed. I'll show you that as it's happening. But that's it for now. I'm going to switch off. I'm going to crack on with that myself. And I'll come back to you when I'm ready to chisel and show you what I have in mind. Here you can see a little bit of it where I've chiseled it. Just take out that little bit, every second one, mark them with a pencil. You see this one goes that way and the opposite. Once you get the rhythm of marking it up, it gets easy. I'll just chisel one or two, just to show you. I'm not being too precious with it, just any old way will do it, really. Like I say, it's really the shadow you're after. Let's see now. There you go. Simple, but it's a lovely little effect. And that's it. That's what I'm going to do the whole way along. When I have it done, I'll show you what it looks like and we'll start fitting it on the table. Okay, there the strips carved out now, so there you go. You can see that. That's my character building course over. Next thing is to glue it all around. Then stage after that, this centre carving is going in there. So, you see now. Found this on the internet, and he said he wanted that carved. So what I do, I get my mate Tommy, he prints them out for me. I'll trace that, I'll cut it out, and I'll spray it with the black spray again, the same as I did this one. And I'll take that from there. So for now I'll just stick this on, and I'll come back to that, and we'll see how we go. Okay, I'm getting ready now to carve out the centerpiece. So what I've done, I've got my print, and I'm going to just trace it. Trace it out on that paper. I'll cut it out like I did the little strip. I'll spray it on then I'll make up some, I'll plane up, some boards, and I'll place the paper on the boards and I'll mark it out then. I can show you as it's happening. So just for now, I'm just going to trace this. I'll come back to you then. Right, there you go. There's the tracing of a quarter of it. My plan is to spray it on the template. I'll get the template down, or the actual workpiece. There you go, that's the piece. My plan now, I'll take it over to the bench. Sit that on there as best I can. Spray it and move it on, and let's see what it looks like then. Oh, there you go, not so bad. Next thing, route it again and chisel the folds like I did the band. So that's it for today. I'm going to leave it alone. Tomorrow I'll come back to it and I'll start routing it then. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. I did that with a 1/4 inch bit. Hope you can see it. I'll get into the corners now with the 1/8 bit. I'll go around them again just to take all the rounds away. And then I'll start chiseling it, start giving it a bit of texture, and it should look good there. Okay, I'll crack on, see how we go. Okay, that's it. I'm happy enough with that. I'll give it a fine sand and it's ready to sink into the middle of the table. Okay. Now we're getting ready to sink this into the tabletop. I've put a rebate here all around. And the reason for that is when I sink it, I want it to be thin here, but I still want it to be an inch thick here, for that's the look I want. So also, by rebating it, when I mark what I'm going to chop out, I can take more material and it will allow for freedom and movement. My plan is, once I've chopped it, I'm going to sand everything up and spray everything. And after I've sprayed it all, then I'll get some, like a silicone builder's adhesive, something that will allow movement, that won't go hard like a glue. So I'll mark it now, and I'll show you. I'll set it down with a router. So we'll line it up. The center of this V groove, I'm lining up with joints just to have it look the part. Right, that's it. I'm happy with that. I'm going to skip forward a bit. I'm just going to take it out. I'm going to give it a bit more freedom for movement. I'm going to sand it, spray it, put it back in, and I'll show it you then. Getting there now.